Hey, here we go with some Morning Joe, some waking, bacon, and news. So, let's get to watching. Let's see what kind of shitstorm our country, America, is in. Seems like right now we're talking about 9/11 style commission to see what exactly happened January 6th, the insurrection onto the Capitol. Bunch of fucking idiot morons thinking, I don't even think they even know what they were thinking. They really think they were gonna, overthrow the government, or are they just trying to look cool? You know what I mean? See how far they can get away with and stuff like that. And you know what? That's what bullies do. They push the limit. They see how much they think they can get away with. And then they think they really accomplished something by breaking some windows. But the biggest thing is, it blows my mind that you really want to make comparisons to that and Black Lives Matter. This is the thing. From what I can see and from what I can tell, okay, I'm not in the thick of it because I'm just not. I'm just too lazy. I'm bacon. But any group of people, okay, whether it be Republicans, Democrats, Grandma's Knitting Club, there is going to be a small group of radical people, and I put radical people, just the ones that are beyond passionate. Let's just say that. You can even, like I said, look at it in a group of, Grandma's knitting class. There's going to be at least that one bitch that's like, you see that stitching she's doing over there? It's just absolutely ridiculous. Can you believe she wore those shoes to this knitting class? That's absolutely terrible. What do you think? Do you think we should kick her out? I don't know. Did you hear what her son did? Maybe we should kick her out. I think her son's in drugs. You have that group that's just got to ruin any good thing just because. Like seriously, just because. Grew up 9/11 and everything, pointing our fingers at everybody with, brown skin that may be Muslim or, Arab or whatever. Terrorist. Freaking America, man. We've been doing that since the beginning of time in America. Well, correction. Since white people got to America, we've been doing that. Even to the people whose land that we are just stealing. Come on. So there's always going to be a group. Always going to be a group of people that really do ruin a good thing for the rest of the people. So, it's hard to point fingers in exactly one direction or another because there are radicals in each group. There are a group of people not necessarily associated with Black Lives Matter, but see the situation that Black Lives Matter or proud, Trump, the Trumpness, that are taking the opportunity that is presented to them to raise havoc. It's not that all Republicans are radical, Proud Boy loving, Trump army people. But at the same token, you do have those small group of Proud Boys of white supremacists that are like, this is our time. This is our time. We can ride in with this group and cause havoc. You don't think, that there's some group that are like, hey, this Black Lives Matter thing, there's a lot of people in the streets and, whatever. People aren't going to notice us breaking in and robbing places. You have criminals. You have criminals all over. But when there's riots and stuff like that, or there's, protests, that's just like, hey, all criminals, come on out to play. And that's what it is. Those, kindergarten teachers with their kids and mamas groups that are standing there with the Black Lives Matter posters aren't the same messed up hoodlum thugs that are breaking windows over there. These Republicans down the street that are pro-Bush and love Reagan and have for all their lives and, bleed red, they aren't the ones that are like, wait a minute, white supremacists and breaking in the Capitol? No, wait. That's not what America's about. Those are the people that like Mitt Romney, that like Liz Cheney, that those are Republicans. Those aren't the ones that are breaking into the Capitol, But you've associated yourself so much with that group that, it's like a guilty by association. It's guilty by association. And it really does blow my mind on the situation, because there's fault on both sides. There is fault on both sides, but it's not the other side's fault. Does that make sense? It's not Black Lives Matter's fault that group of people went and busted out windows and shit. That wasn't them. They were over there. We're over here. The same thing with, the Trump-loving, old people and regular people that just love that man for some god-awful reason and proud to be Republicans, and then this group marches on and, marches on the Capitol. And the Republicans are like, whoa, wait a minute, that's not us. That's not us. But guess who has the louder voice at the moment? And that's the thing. Who has the loudest voice for the moment? Trump and his little groupie. That's why it's almost inevitable to see another party in this. I know a lot of people even forget about the independent party. But to have now potentially 4 parties, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and then a mega, it's almost inevitable, but I understand why they don't want to fuel that, because then that's almost giving, like, making what the Proud Boys and everything did okay because they achieved what they wanted to achieve by making their mark on Congress, on the country. Nah, man, that's giving power to that group. I really hope 5 years, 10 years from now, that kind of mentality will go. And I'm not trying to encourage anybody's willful thinking, but I'll tell you what, if one guy was no longer here anymore, I think a lot of this might go away. And I don't mean just remove said person from his pedestal or soapbox, because that doesn't really do any good to a man that's already been removed from a lot of situations and doesn't care and moves on to the next. But we're talking about a man that has never gotten his ass whooped physically in his entire life. And guess what happens with people that never get smacked across the face? Never gets, their ass whooped for running their mouth too much. They have no reason not to say whatever they want to say, because there's no, repercussions. Yeah, he may have lost his political power or whatever, or his presidential powers, but he ain't lost his political power. Nope. the fear is that he's going to become the symbol of the party going forward. But, you know, kind of like, you know, they got rid of Hitler, things kind of changed. Got rid of Manson, things kind of changed. Get rid of Jim Jones, things kind of changed. You understand what I'm trying to say here? I kind of feel that we are in deep need of some old-fashioned real people justice, man. So this is going to be the argument of those Republican, you know, radical people. They're going to say, us as Democrats or whatever, don't have the balls to do it. Republicans are banking on us being weak, and that we're just going to bow to their wishes because we're not actually going to take a swing. That's where at least I can applaud Nancy Pelosi. I don't agree with everything Nancy Pelosi says, but holy cow, does she have bigger balls than any person in that house. You know, she really does. Like, and she is like a mama bear, really pissed off at this, you know, attack of wolves that are trying to, you know, attack her babies. So, as much as we may not necessarily like exactly what she's got to say about things, she's a tough cookie. Well, it'll be interesting to see how things work out. Now we're talking about the minimum wage thing in the stimulus package. I'm not sure when this video will come out, when it will actually reach the ears of y'all, but it's February 25th, 2021. They're still working on the Biden stimulus package. Everybody's got this big issue with this minimum wage increase. And obviously I'm on the lower end of the spectrum, so yeah, there would be a huge benefit to that increase. And I can understand where businesses are concerned. However, this is a gradual increase. Now, I'm not you know, a scholar of any sort. I didn't go to any kind of economic schooling or whatever. But I would imagine with a gradual increase over the next 5 years to that point, it really shouldn't hurt as much as you'd think. Now, this is one of my biggest issues with this minimum wage thing, is that, for one, that it's even necessary for the government to have to push that minimum wage, to have to push the minimum wage up there, because people are not getting paid a living wage, you know, on the wage that they can live on. You know, I come from a family that was working two adults working 40 hours a week, making $10 an hour, and yet I was still standing in food pantry lines every week because me and my 3 kids and my wife couldn't make enough to really make it through to eat properly. You know, I'm not saying gorge ourselves, but to eat in a healthy manner. And yet we made too much money to get any kind of food stamps assistance. But yet we're making $10 an hour, 40 hours a week. I mean, how is that possible? When you break down the bills, I mean, if I wanted to spend, I shouldn't have to spend every single dime I have to the absolute bare necessities, you know? Like, we should have some money to do certain things. Yes, I smoke. Yes, I smoke. That's the only thing I do for me. I'm not allowed to have something for me? Every bit of my working 9 to 5, 40 hours a week goes directly to the bills and then right back to the slave and grind. Like, where at the same token, bosses of these places, how many cars they got, how many houses they got, how many vacation spots they go to on a regular basis. You know, how many vehicles, you know, boats, motorcycles. They got it all, man. And guess what? You're the ones that got to work so they can go enjoy those things that they have. And yeah, it's sad that that doesn't trickle down to the workers. But they don't, because it's, you know, we're human beings. We like the money. Yeah, we don't want to give it up. Hell no. But guess what? If that's the case, then you shouldn't be a business owner, man. Unless you're going to do the business 100% yourself. Because if you can't pay people enough so they can live on, then don't work for them. Period. You know, there are jobs out there. Don't let people, you know, fool you. There are other jobs. There will always be other jobs. Yeah, they may not pay as much as that one did. But you know what? There's a better chance that you're being treated better with that employer. It's inevitable that these big box places, you know, Walmarts, Targets, all these places, they're gonna drown out those small businesses no matter what. No matter what. That's their goal. You know, they get things full stock. They get them in bulk. You know, it's the way of the business. They can sell things cheaper. These small businesses can't. You know, any small businesses these days really have to do with services, you know. Lawn mowing services, you know, home repair services, auto mechanic services, cleaning services. But to actually sell products in the store, nah, it's going to go out the door. And any big business that wants to cry and whine and try to tell you that they have to close down stores, that they have to raise their minimum wage, they're just trying to make them look bad. Think about it. They're trying to make the government look bad, so then you as the people point your finger at them, the government, for putting in these minimals, these regulations, to be like, hey, it's not me that we got to close this store down, it's them. Where in truth, it is them, because they have plenty of fucking money to pay you. Kroger. You telling me Kroger is going to cut out to close down shops in California if they have to raise that stuff? Fucking Kroger, man. You got plenty of money. You just don't want to come off it. And look, the minimum wage increase is necessary. Because guess what? We all see it every single day. Prices go up. Look, you can try to point your finger at why those prices go up all day, every day, but guess what? No matter what, they're still going up. Prices of things go up every single year, regardless of what the circumstances is. But you know why? Because that is profit for the big man. That's profit for these big companies. Those increases are going to their pockets, not the workers' pockets. So by putting in that minimum wage increase, that is making those big businesses give their employees more money. And it's sad that you have to have that. You have to have that. Why do you think we have a minimum wage to begin with? And guess what? Do you know when we established that minimum wage? It was after World War II, during our Reconstruction after World War II, after the Great Depression, to get us out of it. Now, I don't know if it's necessarily a part of Roosevelt's deal or part of Lyndon B. Johnson's deal, but it was one of those presidents right in there, right after World War II, after the Great Depression, that established the minimum wage. It was the same one that established the child laws and stuff like that. Because of the Great Depression, because it was a K-shaped situation. Guess what? We're in a K-shaped situation where those wealthy are getting wealthier and the poor are getting poorer. You know another situation that reflects that same situation? Taxation during the time of the Dark Ages. Kings, queens, subduing their peasants and farmland and stuff like that. Exact same situation. Well, guess what? Guess what happened? They revolted. They revolted. That's when you started having the French revolt and the British revolt, and all these revolts started happening because you know what? The small guy got fed up. He was sick of it. It's very similar to even how this country was built, as we know it anyway. As the European, come on over to the Americas, and we fought for our independence was for that exact thing, because the simple man was not getting paid enough. So the way I see it, if you don't like that $15 an hour increase, it's because you got money. It's because you got money and you're afraid you're going to lose it. Guess what? The regular man and everything, come on. We deserve it. We deserve it. I mean, how many people out there are working 2, 3 jobs? Two part-time jobs and a full-time job. Should you really have to work that much? I mean, think about it. That person is taking up 3 positions in the workforce, right? Because he's working 3 jobs. If he got paid a good one at one, that would leave 2 open for 2 other people. Then you have across the board employment. So if there is a loss of jobs, blame it on the big corporations and the big businesses. That is who is doing that to you. The government is trying to be on your side for the people, but at the same time, they got to be careful not to, kill their relationship with big business, because that's the economy. Big business is where the money is. And yes, the government wants those funds, needs that money. And by increasing the taxes on the wealthy, this is the thing. When Biden increases the taxes on the wealthy are going to blame Biden and get you to blame Biden, because they're going to take the money away from you, not them. So, pretty much, so again, the big business got the power. Biden says, you got to pay this much more in taxes. He's like, okay, well then all we got to do is fire this person, this person, this person, this person, and our money isn't going to change. So we'll just take this money that we would have been paying these people, and then we'll go ahead and give that to you. It's the big business that's killing the jobs, not Biden, not the presidency, not Congress. That's the freedom that we have in our country in a free market. Okay, is not having so much government regulation on our business. Now there's some, and there has to be some. We've lived history that tells us that. Okay, monopoly booms, Rockefeller, Carnegie Hall, the big trust, and it was Theodore Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt that came in and was like, look, this isn't right. Look at these poverty people while you all live in luxury and you have control over everything. So at that point is when regulations really had to be on the ballot. Because otherwise, again, you'd have these big businesses controlling everything. And even though they today still control everything, the government does its best to tiptoe around the whole freedom, the freedoms that we enjoy, and work, around that. it's mind blowing how much we just don't really see. You know, how quick we are